What is your ha ha ha? Oh wait, your serious moment? When my 60-year-old father told me he broke his hip paragliding into the roof of his hotel. I should add it was my parents' 60th birthday and this was that wild spontaneous event. Started a new job in a company where my boss worked in 2 different offices. He read himself a note on legal paper. He handed it to me and told me to fax it to the other office. Then he told me to call them and tell them to put it on his desk there so he could have it tomorrow when he arrived. I smiled because I thought he was playing a joke on the new guy. He was not. He loves faxing. I listed my Ford Explorer for sale. A guy emailed me to trade his 2018 Kia Forte or something. I didn't really need one since my fleet already had a 2013 Kia Forte, but he emailed me a few times saying he wants my Explorer but owes money on his Kia. I said how much. He said it's an 8-year finance deal so need to pay in total $45,000. And he wanted my car. I could buy that car right now for $25, $30K at the dealership, brand new. He was dead serious. Someone once said to my friend, "Wait, you're Chinese? I always thought you were Asian." One time this girl asked me if I was Chinese or Asian, and I was confused, so I was just like, Asian, because it was more general. And then she was like, oh okay, so what part of Europe is Asia? Waking up from general anesthesia. One of the nurses by my hospital bed gently informs me that my heart had stopped while I was under. I thought I was dreaming for a while and didn't take it seriously. Then my dad showed up and I saw the panic on his face. Then I phoned my mum and she had obviously been crying her eyes out. Then I took it seriously. This was a few years ago, but I clearly remember my older sister saying, "There aren't any modern buildings in Egypt, just pyramids." I asked a coworker with what his son's name was, and he answered Legolas. After 2 seconds of laughing I realized he wasn't laughing. His son is actually named Legolas. Same here. I met a little boy named Merlin and kinda insulted his parents with my reaction. I was walking my dog a few weeks ago and came face to face with a guy with a small toddler and an Afghan hound. My dog can be funny with dogs he doesn't know, so I grabbed his collar as we approached. The guy saw what I'd done and so said loudly, "Merlin, stop," and grabbed his dog and picked up the toddler. As we passed I said, "That's a great name for a dog." He looked insulted and said, "Merlin is my son's name." I once worked with a 50-some-year-old guy at my first job, who also happened to be a former crackhead. I added in that detail because his mannerisms and communication were clearly affected by his prior drug use, and he would sometimes laugh when he was telling serious stories. One day he was telling me a story about him accidentally setting fire to the woods when he was trying to cremate his dead pet frog when he was a little boy. I was laughing my ass off, strangely so was he, until he looked me dead in the eye with a face that as serious as they get, and says, "I'm still not over it." I knew that look and knew he was actually being serious despite being in absolute hysterics with me while telling his story. I immediately felt like an asshole. He was cool about it though, thankfully. Colleague's wife confronting me on speakerphone, "Are you having an affair with my husband?" My exact response was to roar laughing, managing to offend them both simultaneously. Coworker was telling me the world was flat. I'd never met a real flat earther in the wild before that. I had the same reaction when one of my close friends told me she's a flat earther. Took me a month of listening to her rant about it for me to realize she was being serious. My estranged auntie sending me a message to disinvite me to my sick but alive father's funeral because, wait for it, I had lunch with my little half-brother and sister, and that is disrespectful to my father. My father never let me and half-siblings meet before this lunch had occurred, and by meeting him, he disowned me. Literally, that's it. Just my family. Should have had only one lunch. When I came back from lunch at work to find that one of the soft drink vendors, because at grocery stores they stock their own product, our stockers don't loaded the pallets wrong and a tower of pallets fell, spilling soda tea glass everywhere. The store manager just so happened to walk into the back room at the same time, looked at me, and was like, "You saw it, you're cleaning it up." Thinking he was joking as he liked to do, I laughed it off. That's when he looked me dead in the eye and said, "No, I mean you're really cleaning it up because that's your job." Insert me spending the rest of my shift cleaning it up and my department head constantly calling me over intercom and getting yelled at and then written up the very next day because I didn't do my duties in addition to cleaning up that epic mess. Getting fired later that year was one of the best things to happen to me. Not mine, but other half. When I proposed to her, I asked, she laughed, then said, "Are you serious?" Then when I showed her the ring, she realized. In her shock, she said yes, and has probably regretted it ever since. Thanks, mate. So you shock the person you like while asking him out, so in the surprise they have to say yes. The gal we rented our apartment from very seriously said, "There is one thing I need to warn you about." We were ready for anything after this somber statement. "The last people who lived here say the apartment is haunted." We laughed and said, "Ha ha, you got us. You sounded so serious at first." She stared at us blankly. She totally meant it. "People always talk about how my house is haunted, but I've lived here for more than 200 years and haven't seen anything like that." When I learned I had totally forgotten to attend almost every single class in one of my college courses, I forgot I had enrolled in it. A classmate asked me, "Ha ha, where have you been? You're never there when the teacher's taking attendance." And I was like, "Ha ha, funny. So anyway, how's— oh, wait, At work it's pretty common for people, especially dads in their 40s to 60s, to jokingly ask for a discount, so I'm used to being like, "Ha ha, no, sorry. Wish I could though." One day a guy who looked like a middle-aged dad asked for a discount, so I laughed and said no. He followed up with, "Why not?" Dead serious. Yeah, boy was trying to negotiate a discount. For like no reason, not even like military or AARP, just wanted me to give him like half off his rate for asking, I guess. Mentioned to someone that my sister works at a hospital and they asked if she could swipe some masks for them. When I was in high school, I received a message over MSN from a buddy saying, "Mitch is dead." Thinking he got into trouble, I responded with a "Ha ha, what did he do?" It turns out, he had a brain aneurysm while driving home from school. There's a girl at work who used to call the icing sugar talcum powder. We didn't realize for weeks that she actually thought it was called that. She's actually a pretty switched on girl in general, she just has these weird things.